Hello everybody, my name is Luke Marr and this is Haute Le Mode, and today on Haute Le Mode we are coming to you with your Tonys 2024 fashion roast and review. The Tonys, Broadway, musicals, jazz hands, there's a lot going on. But normally I have very low expectations for the Tonys, and I think that's kind of a good thing because my expectations are so low that when everybody looks just nice, I'm very happy. So without further ado, let's get into some of these nice looks. Also, in advance, listen, I'm working with a different camera because I'm currently not in my usual filming setup, and I didn't want to film in an iPhone. So I apologize if it's a little crunchy, if I look a little crunchy. I normally do, but you know, if I sound any crunchier than normal, again, apologies. Now, first up, we have Alicia Keys, and she is wearing Gucci. Now, this is a custom look, and it's from Sabato de Sarno's Gucci, which is much more minimal, much more toned down. I personally feel like this off-the-shoulder silhouette is something that he's really into, and what he's very much so into is embellishments. We really see a lot of that from Sabato, and we can see that right at the neckline. There is this little bit of red paillette situation going on that confetti's just below the bust area. Then we're gonna ignore the belt for right now, we'll get to that. Then as we get to around the thigh on the skirt, the paillettes come back in, and slowly as we get to around maybe the shin or the upper knee, we get these big paillettes, they emerge. I do think that the color is rather lovely. I think the Gucci Ancora red, which he's really, really into and like wants to push, is nice and I enjoy it. I think the silhouette looks good. I think it fits her pretty well. The glove's not completely sold on, but listen, a glove is just always tough. But I just don't get the point of the belt. Sabato, do not become Maria Grazia, because if you do, I'm gonna have to be mean, so this is like a warning, you know what I mean? Like, this is a warning shot. You don't need the belt, okay? We don't need a skinny mini belt. We have enough of those. We see Dior all the time. Again, really nice embellishment, very simple dress. We can deal with the belt and partially the glove. We gotta fix real quick. Next up, we have Alyah Scott. This is a dress by Tanner Fletcher, and Tanner Fletcher is an up-and-coming New York-based brand. I love it. This looks beautiful on her. This is ethereal. This is gorgeous. Like, this is fashion. It's very 1930s. You have this subtle little short puffed sleeve. You have the collar. The little bows are a Tanner Fletcher signature, and I love the fact that they move down from right at the neckline all the way to just, I don't know, around the knee, upper shin area. It's just that perfect 1930s beautiful sort of biasy, silky gorgeousness that fits ethereally. It has a nice sort of structure of the body, but it doesn't cling. At the same time, it has a flow, it has a languidity in the skirt. I just think that this is like perfect. She's carrying herself super duper well. She's letting the dress do the talking. Her plus the dress, that's all the talking I need to see. They're having a beautiful conversation. I am enraptured. I would listen to that talk every day of the week. This is what I mean by, like, it's nice. Like, it's nice. It's beautiful. It's stunning. It doesn't need to be anything different than that. It can just exist in this wonderful, perfect little ness. Next up, we have Amber Iman, and she is wearing Gert-Johan. See, she's a fish. She's a mermaid. Now, from my understanding, the mermaid does have like a little bit of a theme situation. I do know that Amber Iman is in a play. She's nominated, I believe, as well. And the line, I think, in the play says something to do with like a blue dress and things like that. And so I guess Amber was like, listen, the dress will be blue, great, but we'll also do like a little bit of like a mermaid. And I appreciate it. What I will say is change the backdrop, and it might get a little bit of House of the Dragon real quick. It's very scaly, and it can read as a multitude of different scales. I do think that the idea of like the stomach with the little belly button divot is actually kind of lovely. It's very Issey Miyake, very Thierry Mugler, Issey Miyake, Scabber perfume bottle. I think that is quite cool. I do think that like the poking out of the hip, like the sort of creating an exaggerated hip silhouette, I think with the scales is maybe my issue as well. I just think that the silhouette's a little strange just because it's already doing a lot. It's not doing just a lot, it's doing so much that I have to regroup, meditate, find a new religion perhaps to get through. And I just think that the exaggerated hip situation with the fish scale sort of being that doesn't help. You know what I mean? It's a very fine line from like mermaid to fish. and it's getting a little weird fish. I think that the neckline's cool. I think the plunging is sweet. I think the rest of the skirt is fine. It's just that exaggerated hip situation that I'm not really sold on. But it's weird, it's wild, it's wacky. I gotta respect it. It has a theme somewhere in there, but again, fish. Next we have Angelina Jolie, and she's with Vivian Jolie, who is one of her children. I'm not gonna talk about Vivian because she's a child. What I will say is Angelina Jolie is wearing Versace. As far as like draping goes, I kind of like this. I know it's a lot of drape, but I like the fact that it's in what looks to be a velvet. It's not like a super plush velvet, but I love the color on her. I like the fact that it drapes and it moves quite smoothly. She's committed to the bit. And then what I really, really love is these like sleeve shawl things that also sort of exposes the collarbone and all of that jazz. Like it's just barely sitting along the nape of the neck and the shoulders, and there's something about the way that they did that I'm very kind of into. Again, I like the color on her. It feels a little weird, feels a little strange, but at the same time, she also looks really gorgeous in it, not just because she's Angelina Jolie, but also just because the dress construction allows for that. I'm into it. Next up, we have Ariana DeBose, and she is wearing Oscar de la Renta, and this is one of those stained glass dresses. These stained glass dresses are great. I love them. I saw them recently at the Oscar show. This wasn't one of the dresses from the most recent Oscar show, but it is one of the stained glass dresses from one of their more recent collections. And Ariana DeBose looks so beautiful in it. Like, it's also just really hard to wear a piece like this and not look cool, because not only is it a beautiful silhouette, it's this really lovely, luscious, sort of princessy, big frou-frou skirt situation, but also the idea of these, maybe they're enamel panels, or maybe they're glass, or maybe they're ceramic, I don't really know exactly, but the idea of them being sort of like bolted to this big horsehair skirt is great. And the way that they fit together, the way that like even at the bottom of the dress, the hem, even actually throughout the dress, there's little sections missing. So it almost feels like it's a shattered piece that somebody tried to glue back together, but they're just missing quite a few of the pieces. I love it. I think the colors also strangely work. This idea of the purple with the yellow and like a greenish hint and twinge, and also the actual horsehair underneath blends in pretty well to the whole situation too. Like it just airs on ugly yet beautiful because of the purple and the yellow. I'm excited to see the rest of the stained glass dresses come out from Oscar. And again, don't discount the American fashion brands, especially the heritage American fashion brands, because when the girls do it, they do it well. So shout out to Fernanda Garcia and Laura Kim because they're doing it. Sorry, you know, it's a little bit darker, but you know, it's going to be a little bit crisper, I think. Less crunch. Now next up we have Ashley Park, who is wearing Harris Reed. Listen, not my favorite Harris Reed moment. The black velvet of the skirt is fine, and the black velvet of the little bust panels and the gloves, again, also all fine. I like that Ashley styled the jewelry over top of the gloves. I think it's cute, I think it's fun, but I'm not really convinced about whatever black velvet serape is wrapping itself around the waist, but like loosely, like it's a little saggy velvet. No, I'm okay. Botox it, you know what I mean? If we're gonna do that. On top of it, I think that the exposed boning of the corset, for the first time ever, I'm just kind of like, yeah. I think overall, I love the jewelry element. I don't really love the dress. So, next up we have Audra McDonald, who is wearing Christian Siriano. I think it's okay. Listen, I like the silhouette of it. I think it fits her really, really well. I like the little off-the-shoulder, cold shoulder, wrap, stole, built-in element. The leopard motif and the sequins, not for me, but listen, I do think that it looks good, or it doesn't look bad, in my personal opinion. I do like the fact that it's also continued throughout the entirety of the dress. It's not like it's forgotten on the little shawl serape. It's not, you know, falling off by the knee element or a panel at the waist that's matte. I like the fact that it's all continuous. You know what I mean? If you're gonna go for leopard, go for leopard. I do think that from afar, it's just kind of like a shiny fabric. And so maybe like a white sequin possibly could have been better, or like a different color sequin. Or maybe the dress could have been white. I don't know. Something there I feel like could give a little bit, just because it's from afar confusing to see what it actually is. Fit, good. Construction, good. Christian Siriano, I like. When it's bad, and I'll say that it's bad. When it's good, and I'll say that it's good. Like, I have no qualms being a back and forth Betty. I'll say it how it is. And like, if Christian Siriano makes something nice, he makes something nice. And like, I have no problem saying that he makes nice things. Next up, we have Bebe Neuwirth, and I love this. I like this chocolatey bias cut dress. I think that the gathering at the torso that sort of continues not really super heavily at the bottom of the skirt, but definitely has that sort of texture and tileness going on throughout the look. I think it's cute. I think that the neckline in this silver crystal situation is also quite lovely. Overall, I like the fit of the dress. I like the color of the dress. I like the technique that the dress was made with. She's wearing sunglasses. She looks very cool. I hope to be her. Next up, we have Billy Porter, who is wearing Robert 1. We love Robert 1. We stan Robert 1. This is the rain look. This is crystals that are all placed so that they look like little rain droplets that are falling off of the jacket, almost like the jacket and the shirt, or at least the collar of that shirt is waxed, and so the beads are falling off as Billy Porter is walking through the rain. I'm gonna be completely honest. I love the look. I think it's a great look. Love Robert 1. Very beautiful, very exciting, very interesting, very cool. I like the cane. I'm kind of like missing a hat though from Billy Porter, in my opinion. Like, I wish there was a little bit of like a tipped big old hat situation going on. I feel like it would add a little something something. I just feel like it would top hat-esque look with the cane all off. I just think it would be chic and elegant and fun and cool and quirky. I love the fact that he's wearing shoes that also are crystallized so that you get that full continuity throughout the look. Listen, wearing Robert 1, Billy Porter, it all looks good to me. I'm very happy. Next up, we have Brooke Shields. She is wearing Monique Lhuillier. I'm gonna be honest, I don't love the dress at all. I actually despise that dress. I do love Brooke Shields. She's a fashion icon. But what I will say is the sequin bodice I don't love. I don't at all love seeing that panel of sheer, even though, although I understand construction-wise it's necessary, just because something is necessary doesn't mean I have to like it. Listen, when it comes to foundation, like, I can think it's ugly. I can also realize it's a necessary ugliness, but I still can think the thing that is keeping everything from crumbling is gross looking. As for the skirt, I also hate that skirt. The fabric is really not super forgiving. The bow right in the middle is also like not helping, not selling me on it. Shocker, this is gonna be a crazy statement. My favorite thing about this look is the fact that Brooke Shields is wearing Crocs because she got foot surgery. Yeah, and I stand by that because the Crocs, at least, while they might be heinous in practice and they look like Swiss cheese because they're bright yellow, they at least are in their house code. They're not diverting, they don't fit poorly or whatever, like, they're just doing their Croc necessity. The Croc is the best aspect of this dress because everything else should be burnt. Next up, we have Cynthia Erivo, and she is wearing Louis Vuitton. I like it. Listen, it's A, fits her phenomenally. B, the fact that this dress is just fully embellished in what to me looks like dimes and pennies. Nickels, I feel like, would be a little bit too big for this dress, I think is interesting. I like the way that the dress reflects light in certain elements, or if that's just silver paillettes versus copper or gold paillettes, I don't really know. But there's something about these mixing of metal colors that I think work quite well. Again, I just think that, like, they have her measurements on file and she looks beautiful in a mermaid silhouette like that. The fact that the train drags, it's lovely. I really like the jewelry. I think nobody has made a nose ring as cool as Cynthia Erivo, which I know is a controversial statement, at least on the red carpet. You're like high-end nose rings. Cynthia Erivo has it. She's taken the cake. But yeah, I actually kind of like this LV dress. I think it's chic. I think it's fun. I think it's cool. Next up, we have Danai Gurira, and she is wearing Gabriella Hearst. Here's the thing. I don't really mind this liquidy gold. I especially really like bodice section. I think that it fits her really, really well. I don't think that it looks costumey. I think that works. The skirt I don't like. I assume that this is made out of leather. I can't tell if this is like a vegan leather or if this is a real leather because Gabriella Hearst is very like sustainability and environmental. The thing is with the leather though, it's really wrinkled, and I think that that's kind of thrown me off because, again, wearing gold is tough. If it's flat and perfectly sheeny and shiny, great. If it looks like a wrapping of a Ferrero Rocher, not only because it's gold, but also because it's all wrinkled and crinkled. Really hard to not make Ferrero Rocher jokes. Love the bodice of that dress. Skirt needs something. Next up, we have Daniel Radcliffe and Erin Darkay. And Daniel is wearing Todd Schneider, and Erin is wearing Marchesa. Let's talk about Erin really quickly. It's very Marchesa. I think it's a pretty dress. I think it works. I get it. I understand it. Very Tonys, too. Very early 2000s. Man Who Shall Not Be Named. That's just, I don't know. When I think of Marchesa, that's what I think of. It works. It's very Marchesa. It's pretty. It's embellished. It fits her well. It's a nice silhouette. I'm not crying. As for Daniel Radcliffe, I like this a lot. I love the purple. I feel like it's not really super Todd Schneider, and I like to see Todd Schneider do a little bit of a red carpet experience. I think it's fun. I love the color of the lapel. It's like this mauve. It's like a metallic eggplant. Cute. I like the shirt, even though it's just a little bit purple, like a little touch. I just think that it looks great. I think he looks wonderful. I think he looks fun. They're not, coinciding all that much, but I think that the color schemes work well together. I'm into this. Next up, we have Eddie Redmayne. I don't know who Eddie is wearing, but I know there's a lot of cabaret discussion, and bienvenue. I think this is fun. I think it's cool. I like the fact that it's your normal white shirt, black jacket, black pant, but I don't know what dead animal looking panel they threw over the shoulder, but I like it. I think it's different. I think it changes up this idea of the traditional black tie for the Tonys. I think it's that little jazz hand, a little Kit Kat club that you kind of need for the Tonys. The Grammys, you wear your suit, great. But the Tonys, you gotta get mincy, a little zesty. And I think that it works here. I like it. I'm into it. Thank you, Eddie. Next up, we have Elle Fanning, who is wearing Saint Laurent, and the literal opposite of Eddie Redmayne. I like a pantsuit. I love a pantsuit on a woman. I feel like it completely flips the gender role. Very fun, very chic, very elegant. And Elle wearing one, very Le Smoking, hot. She also, again, I don't really talk about hair and makeup ever, but I think this is perfect. I think this really works. It's very Betty Cateau, who is one of Saint Laurent's beautiful, wonderful, stunning muses. I believe that she actually was one of the first women to wear Le Smoking. So I don't know if this is a Betty Cateau little reference, but if it is, Elle, you're stunning. If it's not, Elle, I will give it to you because I feel like it probably still is. I love. It's nasty and it's hot and it's sexy and it's wonderful and it's everything that I want in the world. I'm living for this Elle Fanning Saint Laurent Le Smoking suit tribute. She looks great. She looks hot. She understands how to carry it. I'm content. Next up, we have Idina Menzel, and she is wearing Naeem Khan. Listen, it's certainly an interesting motif, and I do appreciate the optical illusion element where at the waist, all of these circles or ellipses or ovals get much smaller and much tighter around that area in order to sort of create a little bit of a waist and to bring the eye there. And then as they move out of the waist section, you get a lot bigger, ovals and circles that sort of help to sort of broaden those areas as well and sort of give you a little bit more depth right at the center. I think the color is the one thing that's kind of throwing me off because it's a black crystal sort of outer shell, and then there are these sheer panels in a dark beige sort of stocking-like fabric. I just think that's the one issue that throws me off because I'm not saying that each panel should match Idina Menzel's skin tone. I just think it's a little jarring to see her neck and her hands hit and compare right next to all those darker beiges. But overall, it's kind of butterfly-esque, and I think it's nice enough. Next up, we have Ingrid Michaelson, and she is wearing Taya. I don't know the brand Taya. I apologize in advance, but I love this dress. I think this is beautiful. I think that this is, again, just a really nice example of, lovely, pretty dress. I don't really have crazy expectations for the Tonys, and so when you see something in this gorgeous, stunning, silky blue with these floral appliques all over, they're lovely to see. They're pretty. The dress fits her beautifully. This is good. This is chic. This is elegant. I will say again, something feels a little mid-2000s about this particular dress, and it seems to be something that's coming up a little bit in this whole Tony's video, but I enjoy. She's very pretty. The dress is very pretty. Everybody is gonna be happy. Next up, we have Jeremy Strong, and he is wearing custom Loro Piana. Love. I love this custom sort of chocolatey brown velvet suit jacket with a little shawl shawl lapel. It's very cool. It's very sweet. I love the little button up triangular dip situation at the collar. And then you have this black bow tie. It's just like perfectly tied. I also just like that Jeremy Strong goes for it. He's a fashion guy, but he still is able to capture a sort of like traditional tailoring element. It's never too crazy, but it's just unique enough that I say, wow, what a star. So claps for him. He looks great. Love it. Next up, we have Jim Parsons, who's wearing Dolce & Gabbana, cream suit jacket, shawl lapel. There is a little floral applique sort of running up one side, a white shirt, black bow tie, black pant, black shoe. It's fine. I feel like the cream on the white doesn't really make me feel super, I don't know, excited. I guess I appreciate the floral thing on the side, but again, it's not really anything to write home about. The pants, I don't really love the fit of the pant. I don't love how they taper towards the bottom, and I don't like the shoe. And listen, gay people also sometimes just don't have taste. Look at me. I'm wearing shorts and Birkenstocks and a t-shirt. So, yeah, we can't be all things to all people. Next up, we have Jocelyn Bio. I don't know how to say her last name, and I apologize, Jocelyn, but I love this dress. I think she looks beautiful. I think she looks regal. I think she looks elegant. I think the color is fantastic. It fits her beautifully. I love the gathering of the skirt. I love the flower neckline addition with just the subtle little purple feathers to bring in just a little bit more 3D, because these flowers and fabric are also 3D. I think she looks stunning. I think she looks radiant. I think she looks lovely. I think she looks beautiful. Yes. Next up, we have Jordan Roth, who is wearing Rodarte. I like it. Listen, I think that there's something to be said about the idea of, again, like the black with sheer sort of panels going on, but this is kind of like a full sheer cape dress thing. I love the foliage that runs all along it, also in black. I think the fact that Jordan also understands how to carry a garment very, very well and does a cape style very, very well is within his wheelhouse. He gets it. He understands it. He knows how to sell it to us. And I think this is a great example of that. I think it's a little different, in my opinion, from Rodarte's normal sort of stylings. But again, I think it's chic. I like the neckline. I like the almost oval sort of side panels that we can see that run down the sides of the dress, but that is also sort of displayed in front of us too because of Jordan's stance. Overall, chic and elegant. I enjoy. Next up, we have Juliana Canfield, and she's wearing Thom Browne, and she's wearing jewelry by Fred Leighton Kwiat. Listen, I think the Thom Browne dress, it's fine. It's nothing really to write home about, but I do think that it carries a sort of Thom Browne exposed lingerie corsetry kind of situation. The sort of emphasis on the hips, I don't think are that bad because, again, like unlike Amber Iman earlier, it's just a black dress. It's really not trying to be anything big and radical and attention seeking. So the fact that you are exaggerating that sort of hip area and creating that excess does sort of allow itself to work a little bit better because it's just a black fabric, so you're not really focusing on everything else. The florals on the side of the dress that then sort of creep across the bodice and create like a strap, it's fine. I would have maybe, I guess, preferred it just be the strap than like the side situation, but also I feel like maybe they're trying to sort of bring it all together. Overall, nothing really to write home about, but like it's not bad either. Next up, we have Carrie Young, and she's wearing Bibu Mahapatra and De Beers. And listen, I love this dress. I think it's a great dress. I think it's beautiful. I love the construction of it. The fact that it's pretty sheer in a deep plunging area, but does not actually like have panels that are showing the actual skin. Rather, it's covered, I think is cool. I do love the idea that you can expose certain parts of the body while still having fabric over those parts. I think that we can see that in the sort of waist and again, the plunge. I also love these sort of faux sleeves that aren't really sleeves. Like they're just panels that sit along the shoulder and then they descend down on the sides and they create this like big, beautiful sort of moving, I don't know, crazy car salesman that's the floating guy situation. It's cool. I like it. It's fun. And Kara also understands how to sell the garment because there are all these different pictures of her going like, pew, pew, pew. It's great and it's elegant and it's chic, but it's also fun and actionable. I enjoy. I think the necklace works. I think that it perfectly sits there. It sort of helps also, I think, bring in a little bit of like the hair action going on. Continuity of this sort of white silver. Very chic, very beautiful. She looks great. Loves it. Next up, we have Kelly O'Hara. Listen, it's a Christian Siriano dress. I don't actually mind the pink sheath dress style with the curved neckline. I think that's quite nice. I think the color works. Like, it's pretty. I guess my one big issue is like this peplum thing in a completely silky fabric, whereas the rest of the sheath dress is matte. I don't know why we needed that. And if we did need that, couldn't we have just done it in maybe like an also matte fabric? I don't really understand the big peplum thing situation. It's uncomfortable and weird. I don't like it. But if you take that off, pretty dress, totally fine. Next up, we have Lena Waithe, who's wearing Louis Vuitton. Listen, I don't know whose LV this is. I assume it's Pharrell's, because I feel like Nicolas Ghesquière doesn't really do double-breasted suits like this. But what I will say is, like, I don't really mind the LV monogram on it. I don't think until you, like, zoom in that it's super-duper noticeable. I think what my issue is the pant fit. I don't know why they fit like that. I really don't like that they fit like that. I don't like the way that they, like, pool. Because the thing is, like, a wide leg pant, I feel like should hit very firmly. It should be tight. It should be strict. I think that it should be very supple and it should be firm and it should not pool on the ground like melting vanilla ice cream. It should sort of just allow you to continue to look at the form of the wide leg pant without it crumbling. That's my big issue here. Next up, we have Leslie Odom Jr. and Nicolette Robinson. I just think Leslie Odom Jr. looks lovely. I think that he looks beautiful in this waistcoat three-piece suit jacket. It's by Dolce & Gabbana. And you know that when I'm complimenting Dolce & Gabbana, I actually think it's good. I think that the little tie thing, I don't know what the name of it is. I wouldn't even say this is like a cravat, but if it is, I don't know. It's kind of like a bow where they're two sort of, at least look like loops of fabric, but instead of them being sort of twisted horizontally, they're layered on top of each other vertically. And I think that's rather chic and different and cool for a sort of tie situation in terms of menswear. Again, we can see if we look down towards like the waist area, there's a waistcoat, but it's covered up by the bow tie, not bow tie thing. The pants fit fine. The shoes are whatever. I like the black jacket. I like it in that velvet. I think it's cool. Nicolette looks sweet from the side. I think the blue bow with the black, certainly something. I don't hate it though. So we're continuing the conversation of can you wear blue and black together. Next up, we have Malia Joy Moon, and she is wearing Mark Bauer. I like it. Listen, I think it's fun. I love the gloves. I love the gloves. This whole dress is pretty much a form-fitted sort of mermaid style that is probably black because we can see that at the bust area, but is covered in silver sequins that sort of curve and move, and it's really smoothly done. It's really well done. She looks beautiful. I love the use of the gloves to continue that effect. I think it's a great way to actually just sort of keep that energy going. If it was just black gloves, it would be fine, but the other thing is, I feel like the sequins sort of cover up where gloves will sort of wrinkle and bunch up, because that does seem to happen a lot, especially in this video. I like the bag. I love the fit of the dress. She looks stunning. She looks regal. She looks wonderful. She looks beautiful. Into it. Next up, we have Nicole Scherzinger, and she is wearing Nicholas Gibran as well as Cicada and Mason H jewelry. It's a lot of dress. I don't know why it needs to be like 3 different parts. It's more like 17 different parts, to be completely fair. So you have a high collar scarf situation. You have like a asymmetrical neckline, but it's draped. But then it's also like kind of a drop waist drape sash thing, which is also really rough to look at. And then the silky fabric has like an underlayer of a less silky fabric, like a matte sort of drape. And then it's a sheer sort of hobble section that is red but also crystallized, and then it plumes out into this gigantic sort of like trumpet skirt that it's too much dress. Maybe if it was not an asymmetrical neckline, you could maybe get away with it, but again, I think that's wishful thinking. The sash plus the bondage knee thigh thing plus the mermaids and the crystals. Don't even get me started on the crystals. Listen, jewelry wise, like, I feel bad for the jewelry brands because they're certainly getting upstaged here. Oh, this is one of the worst dresses I think I've seen in a hot minute, because it really is just like the lack of editing. It's a whole lot of dress. That's not a good thing. Next up, we have Rachel McAdams, and she is wearing Givenchy. It's actually kind of a sheer dress, but it's like a sheer slip dress. I don't know if it's custom. I don't know if it's like a vintage style, maybe a la a John Golly era, because that does seem like something that Givenchy is doing lately. But for the first time ever, I feel like I don't mind the asymmetrical neckline because it has this sort of silky, creamy ivory banner thing. And also it's a bias cut dress, which I rather love. Her jewelry is by Tiffany & Co. I like this dress on her. I think it's sweet. It's a little risky for her, but it's not too risky unless you're really zooming in. So overall, like, okay, Rachel McAdams, you're seen. We appreciate you. You're making fetch happen. Next up, we have Renee Elise Goldberry, and she's wearing Oscar de la Renta. Listen, I just think this is like classic beauty. It's a navy blue guipure lace floral style off the shoulder, a bit sort of ruffly at the top, and then form-fitting with a big beautiful, or not too big beautiful, but a nice train situation. Like, she looks lovely. Listen, navy blue looks good. I think it works. It's still sort of sheer, but it's lace, and it's young, but it's old. It all feels fine. I'm into it. Next up, we have Sarah Paulson, who's wearing a custom Prada look with jewelry by Reza Emin Dimond. Listen, I kind of like it. I like this neckline. It's like a bateau neckline, but there's shoulder pads. It actually seems like the bows on it are a band that wrap around the arm as well. So there's that. And then there is a little bit of a cut right underneath the arm that exposes a little bit of skin. So even though this dress might feel a little bit strict, I don't think it's actually as strict as one would think. The thing is, the white dress with the black embellishment and sequins all over it, interesting. I'm sure there's probably a Prada reference somewhere in there for that, but I don't think it's bad by any means. I think it fits her really well. I think that the silhouette works. I think it's just that little twist of weird and wacky, but still quite red carpet appropriate, gowny, evening wear. She looks lovely. I'm into it. I'm sold. Also, the drop earrings. This is, I don't know, this whole video I feel like we're seeing a lot of drop earrings. You know, they're big, they're bold. Interesting jewelry trend to take note of. And finally, we have Taraji P. Henson, who's wearing Oscar de la Renta and jewelry by Reza. I know that this is, I believe, from the most recent Oscar show. If it's not, maybe it's from a recent collection. But I'm intrigued by this idea of like scaliness. And I don't mean the kind of scales that you get when you got dry skin. I think that the gold or the silver, I can't really tell which one it is. I feel like this has like an Art Deco-y feeling to it. I just think it's sort of half moon, the fan shape that we're seeing layered over and over and over again. I think it fits her well. I think it looks nice. I think it is a beautiful dress. She looks good. I'm not complaining. I'm enjoying. I'm happy to see it. So that's it. That's our Tony's video. Let's talk about best and worst. Okay. There's actually going to be a lot of best, I feel. So I'm going to say Aaliyah Scott in Tanner Fletcher. Love. Ariana DeBose in that Oscar. Khouri Young in the Bibu Mohapatra. I love. Jeremy Strong, Laura Piana. Jocelyn Bio, I don't know who she's wearing, but I loved it. Elle Fanning in Saint Laurent, I loved. Malia Joy Moon in Mark Bauer. Leslie Odom Jr., loved. As for worst, I'm going to put Kelly O'Hara and Kristen Siriano. Oh, Nicole Scherzinger in the Nicholas Gibran situation. Who else? Oh, Lena Waithe. I did not like those pants. No, thank you. And Alicia Keys. Yeah. Just the belt throwing me off. So that is the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. I apologize about the camera confusions, but I will see you guys in the next video. So TTYL.